listening fans, on The Fight Is Right, the one, the only, the irrepressible,
irreplaceable,
the man known as the man credited with the person who rebooted Tyson Fury's career, the one, the only, Ben Davison.
Oh, that.
Come on now, Ben.
That was
energy.
That was some introduction. You must be after Michael Buffer's job there, Tunde.
I'm telling you, it's coming. Go ahead, Ben Spence.
Yeah, Ben, like I'm saying, you were there on the weekend for Deontay Wilder, Luis Ortiz.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind? Forget about the knockout. From round 1 to round 6, watching the display put on by this old pensioner.
You got that?
What was
Hold on, wait there. I heard he didn't win a round.
He didn't.
Wow.
In my eyes, he didn't. I don't think he did. I think official scorecards didn't have him up. He didn't win a round. But
wow.
He's got that, like I said, people say that he's a one-trick pony, but what he does with that trick is magical. I mean, that is some Paul Daniels kind of magic that he's doing. What was going through your mind, Ben? What was going through your mind?
Do you know what? A lot of people slate Wilder's boxing ability, and although he's probably not the prettiest or the most coordinated, he's actually smarter than what people give him credit for. And
Absolutely.
we all knew that Ortiz would be very reactive for the first 4, 5, 6 rounds. I've said that all the way in every interview that anybody asked me. And I think that Wilder, he purposely kept a low punch count to not take any risks early on. And he knew that, Ortiz's real age was going to show at some point. And the most shocking thing was, we all know that Wilder carries power, but Ortiz is someone that's never been rocked, never been dropped, never been wobbled, barring the fight with Wilder previously. And I think Wilder landed one shot on his chin, one clean shot, and that was all it took.
That's what it is.
Yeah, but prior to the fight, prior to the knockout,
was it
going through your head like, right, we could be seeing an upset here?
No. Somebody had texted me saying that's 3-0, that's 4-0, and I genuinely text back saying, yeah, but can he maintain it? I knew it was a moment of time. I knew exactly what Wilder was doing. He was waiting for that moment. I could see it round by round. He was getting a little bit closer. Ortiz was just a little bit less reactive, a little bit less, legs were a little bit less engaged, and it was a matter of time before that right hand came through, in my opinion.
What improvements do you see in Wilder? Because
I think that he showed more trust and more confidence in his trick. I think that he was very, very patient, and he's got the confidence of his power at that level now.
Because what I noticed with Wilder is like, I think since the dominant Brazil knockout, I think even before then, he believed in his punch power. I think, I could just turn up, I could just knock guys out. And I do also agree with you because his first Bermain Stavern fight, he actually boxed in that fight. I thought he was very, very impressive in that fight.
Yeah, he was very impressive.
But I think it's also the fact of his need to ingratiate himself to the fans, and he does want that knockout so much that everything gets thrown out the window, and he does do these mad windmill punches and throw shots when he's off balance and stuff like that. But I can't see how you can't learn. He's got Mark Breland, Mark Breland being a former World Games gold medalist in 1982, Olympic gold medalist in 1984. I don't see how you can't learn by being around these guys, but I think he just wants to knock guys out that much that he doesn't care.
Yeah, 100%. I also do think that his other trainer, Mark Breland's obviously a fantastic trainer, was a fantastic fighter, and I also think that his other trainer, Jay Diaz, is a very, very good trainer. And I think they're very smart.
Trainer. Yeah.
Very underrated. And I think that, the Wilder's best asset is obviously that right hand, but he does set it up, which people don't give him credit for. And the way he most often sets it up, people will say it's off the jab and it's this and it's that, and it is. But he will lull you into a false sense of security before nailing you with it.
Right. We've just seen statistics out, and it's stating that Deontay Wilder is the hardest punching heavyweight champion of all time. going by statistics.
How did they work that?
Because they're going by how many guys he's knocked out of the fights that he's had. He's like, he was 42-0 now.
Okay.
And he's knocked out 40 opponents.
Incredible.
This is nuts, right?
Incredible.
So if you look at, like, you've been in there with him, right? And I know you've seen the flaws and everything else. I don't think you're going to overly divulge in that, right? Because you're preparing for this rematch. But with that punching power, like Deontay Wilder saying, you know, so guys could outbox me, but they got to do that for 36 minutes. And all I got to do is just land one shot in 1 second and it's lights out. Is that, as you as a trainer, how do you prepare for someone who is an hellacious puncher?
I think that the best attribute that we can have going against him is being realistic, knowing, you know, some people will have to try and convince themselves of false confidence to say it's not that powerful, you know, who's knocked out and this, that, and the other. The best attribute that you can have is to be real with yourself and say,
Come on, brother.
What? I have to take this away. I have to take this away from him.
Yes. Well, listen, I want to move away from Fury. No disrespect. I want to move away from Wilder. I want to move away from AJ and the rest of the heavyweights. And I want to talk about the young man they call Ben Davison. You set yourself a target of being the youngest trainer of a world champion or of world champions. A feat which is incredible, and a goal which you set yourself to do by the age of 25. It's incredible, Ben. You know, and your knowledge, the way you speak,
how you articulate fights,
and break down fights, far belies what your actual age is. And I just like to know, you know. Give me a secret, sunshine. But you know what? You know, where did this love, this passion, this motivation come from? Because I want to know about Ben Davison, because I think you know, being in the position I'm in the same position as a trainer. I often, you know, we're not going to go by Eubanks quote of "it's all the fighter." No, I don't agree with that, because a few years ago, when you first met Tyson, correct me if I'm mistaken, you know, in Marbella. Is it Marbella? You know, you was only 23 years old, and in the space of 3 years, you're at the top of the mountain. And that takes a lot of doing. And I just want you to touch into a little bit about your love of the sport, your passion, how you study it, and how you managed to, you know, help Tyson get back to where I guess he always thought he should be.
Yeah, I mean, I think that most people's story of how they got into boxing is all similar, you know. I mean, going to the gym at a young age, my father took me to the gym at a young age, and getting into boxing and all the rest of it. And a lot of it is down to people's personality. You know, if you have that hunger, no matter what you do, and the motivation that you want to be the best at what you do, and be the best at what you can be, you know, I think you'll do well in no matter what you do. And no matter what it is that I do, I'm very analytical. I look at I used to watch football games and watch one player for the whole game, and then go back and watch another player for the whole game, to see what they did in certain positions, certain scenarios. And it's the same thing in boxing. I feel like if my boxer goes against an opponent, I feel like I've watched them that much. I know what they're going to do before they know they're going to do it. Brilliant. And that's just the way I was. But I spent a lot of time obviously working with Billy Joe underneath Jimmy Tibbs. Yes. And it takes a certain level of intelligence to be able to pick up information and gain that, soak that knowledge up. And I was lucky enough to, you know, people talk about experience, but it's not the amount of experience, it's the quality of the experience.
Good point.
Come on.
Journeyman with 200 fights don't often beat prospects.
Oh no! Stop! Go ahead. You got your round of applause. Go ahead.
Journeyman with 200 fights don't often beat prospects with 6 fights, because the prospect with 6 fights has usually had better coaching, better pedigree, and better experience.
Yes.
And I mean, look at yourself with Anthony. Anthony had, 12 amateur
12
fights.
amateur.
And because he's had fantastic coaching, he's had great experience. Look at what he's been able to achieve in a short space of time.
Incredible.
And, I was lucky enough to have that with Jimmy Tibbs and gain a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge and quality experience at a young age, which then put me into the right path to be able to do what I've done with Tyson, know when to push a fighter, when not to push a fighter, how to organise a training camp, how to, there's so many factors, as you guys know, to being able to get a fighter to peak, for the right tactics, for, even the right fights at the right time, because no matter how good somebody is, I remember Billy Joe was always in a race with Frankie Gavin and James DeGale when they all turned over. But Jimmy, they're at this stage, they're at this stage, they're at this stage. And Jimmy said to him, listen, son, you take your time. You need to go through all the stages. Don't skip any steps. And they'll get beat along the way and you'll go on to do more. And he was right.
Come on. I like that.
Jimmy Tibbs.
I like that. You educated us on the fight is right, man. I'm telling you. And I listen, there's so much that can be said about yourselves. I mean, your credit to yourself, your family. One thing I wanted to ask, I know I did read that, there was a point you was actually staying in Tyson's spare room when you first met him, and I guess that's deep because, you've obviously built up this fantastic relationship with one another, and it's almost as though the two of you read off the same hymn sheet. Tell us a little bit about your personal relationship with Tyson.
Yeah, well, when I first met him, obviously everybody knows that he's very overweight, he's very out of shape, and even more so, he's in a very bad place mentally. And we actually got along. And at the beginning point, I thought to myself, if I can just get this man back happy again, then I'd be happy with the job that I've done because he deserves to be happy.
Sorry, that's me getting excited. He getting the jumps. Sorry.
And he needed my first goal was to make him fall back in love with the sport, because if he was being active, he was burning calories. If he was burning calories, he's going to lose his weight, and that was the first step along to getting him back in the right place. And there's sacrifices all around, like you said, Tunde. I am one of those that says about the fighter, but everybody has to make sacrifices. And I had to make a sacrifice. No man wants to live under another man's roof. There's a sacrifice that I had to make to help him get back to where he is now, and to see where he is now is a fantastic thing for me to be able to see. But there's been lots of people that have played a part as well, in terms of the rest of the team and his family. Lots of people have played a part in getting him to where he is now.
And tell us about this book. I'm hearing that you're launching books and stuff. What's going on? Bro, you're moving up. You ain't waiting for no one. Listen. Wait there. Dream it. Believe it, become it. That's what Ben Davison is. Dream it, believe it, become it.
100%.
Come on. Tell us about this book. I'm interested.
Yeah, well, when I first met Tyson, he'd actually already started the book, and obviously I was hearing him go through his life story through different parts of our training camp, and it was interesting to see. So to see that now, especially at perfect timing, with where he is in his career, and the WWE stuff and all the mental health things that he's done and the role that he's played and the ambassador that he is, that book will, although it's a great reading for people to read it, it'll be a great motivation for people to read and to see the mindset of somebody that's gone through that and how they can relate to it, and it'll help put them on the right path to do the same.
Yes, sir. What about your book?
Maybe one day, but
we need that book. We need the secrets, man. Just let them off. Stop trying to be a poker player. I need to study the Ben Davison.
When he gets past 30.
It's actually my 27th birthday on Friday.
Wow.
You know what? Well, I gotta say happy birthday for you for then, man. What's it on Friday? What's the date on Friday? The 29th. Wow.
Serious.
That is serious.
That's the same day as Riddick and Bowes.
Yeah. That's a big fight that's coming up on the weekend
Quicksilver
as well.
Bowes against
Philip Bowes versus
Hakeem.
That's a great fight. Great fight.
Hakeem Innis Brown. You got seriously. Who you got for that fight?
Oh, do you know what? I think it's a really good fight. I think whoever gets their game plan and tactics right on the night and has the better concentration levels will win that fight.
You know what? We
That's
had them
exactly
both on the show last week, and it kicked off, man. It was really, really good.
It was fun.
Seriously,
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you the show after we get off from this interview. I'm gonna send you the show. It was a really, really good. It was hyped.
Well, Ben, I'm going to say it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. And again, you continue to be my motivation. It's so mad because the first fight in LA, I remember like Tyson was training upstairs, Ben was with him and stuff. And then Tyson finishing everything. I was training. No, Anthony was training. Anthony and Tyson was training at the same time, I remember, because we came in and Tyson was on the running machine and me and Anthony done our stuff. But then when both the fighters went back to their room, 10 minutes later or so, boom, I went upstairs. Who comes through the door? Ben Davison. And so I saying, trainers got a train. Yeah. So Ben knows what's going on. And that was a good meeting. First time I met you, and spoke to you face to face. And right from then, you got a friend for a long time, mate, in me. And I love watching your journey and continue doing what you're doing. We're just starting in this game, and we're going to be here for a long time. So any support 100%. I can offer, listen, I'm there. And I'll always ask you questions because I ain't afraid to learn from anyone.
Yeah, and vice versa.
And trust me, Ben, just keep on doing what you're doing. Yeah, I mean, you got support in me. You're my guy, man. Because me and Ben, we talk. We talk a lot. And you know what? I'm a supporter in everything. I like to support people. I like to encourage people. I don't care. You know what I mean? So anyone going after their dreams and aspirations, I'm right behind them. And you're going out, you're doing that. And I think it's fantastic what you've done with Tyson Fury.
Incredible.
Right? But not only that, I remember a few years ago when Tyson Fury wasn't the most loved person in the sport. And I was I hated that. Mm-hmm. And like to see how he's changed that whole thing. And knowing that you have been like a part of the mechanism or the tricks and the mechanics to have been there for Tyson Fury, I think that's excellent. You should be commended. Tyson Fury should be commended. I'm so looking forward to him and Deontay Wilder because I think Tyson Fury is a technical genius. Period. No man his size ain't moving like how he moves and throwing off the shots like how he throws off. And one thing I noticed about with Tyson Fury, when Tyson Fury is motivated, he's the baddest heavyweight in the whole world.
Yes, sir.
Period. 100%. 100%.
All right, Ben, peace and love. It's been a plum pleasing pleasure to have you up on the show on The Fight Is Right. Ben Davison, everyone.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the Stamina for Sale YouTube channel.